You good?
Yep.
All right. So 3, 2, 1.
Longer than before. Go Zeo. Hope it's not a bore. Go Zeo. Time for season 4. Zeo, Ranger Danger. You will ask for more. Go Zeo. This is an encore. Go Zeo. Another season 4. Zeo, Ranger Danger. Go Ranger Danger. Go Ranger Danger. Go Ranger Danger. Zeo, Ranger Danger.
Welcome to the inaugural episode of Ranger Danger Zeo. This is the podcast where it's hip to be square. My name is Matt.
Hi guys, I'm Michael.
Michael is here. If, for whatever reason, you're new to Ranger Danger as a concept, what we actually do is we watch episodes of the TV series Power Rangers, and from now on, it's going to be Power Rangers Zeo.
It sure is.
And then after we watch the episode, we come back, maybe you've watched it, and then we talk about the events of the episode, and then share our thoughts on it, have a bit of banter.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
keep those bants right on the air.
On the air, that's where the bands belong.
Bants go.
Yeah. So
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
I was terrified that the gimmick this season of your introductions was just going to be you yelling shapes.
No.
I thought it might be like, welcome to Ranger Danger Zeo, triangle! But,
No.
okay.
That's not it. I was considering throwing shapes, but I figure that's probably not a real podcast material situation.
All right. Did we say that this is episode 1 of Zeo, 156 of Power Rangers overall?
I didn't, but now you have.
Okay, there we
so
go.
it's actually called a Zeo Beginning Part 1. Quite appropriate.
Yeah.
It's a Zeo Beginning for us. It's our first venture outside of Mighty Morphin, except for Dino Charge, I guess.
And all those times we did like Sentai and...
Yeah, okay, so I guess we're a bit out of Mighty Morphin.
We've done a couple of like day trips,
Yep.
but this is we're moving now, and
Yep. We've moved house. We're setting up shop in Zeo.
this is exciting.
Yeah.
So should we I guess do a quick recap in case people are starting now?
Yes.
Like not of all of Mighty Morphin, but of kind of where we're at the moment.
Yeah.
So the Power Rangers currently,
Yes.
or as of last week, Tommy,
Yep.
not Jason, Tommy, Rocky, Tanya,
Yes.
Kat, Billy, and Adam.
Yep.
That's all of them.
Although it's worth pointing out too that as much as Tanya is of the group, she has never actually been a Power Ranger at this
No,
stage.
she just came in to replace someone.
Yes.
So they all went on a Zeo quest to collect the Zeo crystal.
Yep.
Which stopped them from being turned into children.
Or reverse the effects of them being turned into children.
Yes.
Yep.
But then Goldar and Rito stole the Zeo crystal
Yep.
and blew up the command center.
Yeah, blew it right up.
So Zordon's probably dead. Alpha's probably dead. The Power Rangers have no powers.
The bad guys have an incredibly powerful weapon.
It was a bleak ending.
Yeah, shit's pretty bad.
I'm excited to see how they fix any of it, because presumably 2 to 3 weeks from now, we're just going to be back to fighting a monster each week.
And you haven't seen much of Zeo at all, is that right?
I would probably say I've never seen an episode of Zeo.
Ah.
I have, like, there's pieces that I have an awareness of. Like,
Yeah.
I know the name of the bad guys.
Yep.
And I know, like, some stuff about the 6th Ranger who shows up. Mm-hmm. But, like, I don't know what their Zord is or what it looks like. I don't know if they have, like, actual powers, although I know what the suits look like. I don't know anything that happens. I don't, like, my first proper Power Rangers experience is the Turbo movie.
Yep.
Which is, like, at the end of this season.
That's right.
So we are kind of ramping towards the stuff that I know about.
Yep.
But
There's a bit of unfamiliar territory to
this
cross
is going to
before we
be
get
a
there.
year of just, I have no idea what. And I'm really excited. I've heard from a lot of people who were watching a little ahead of us that, like, Zeo is where the show starts to be okay.
Yeah, not so bad.
So I'm really excited.
Yeah. You know where a lot of people are excited?
No, I don't. Where are people excited?
The internet.
That does sound right.
There's a lot of excited people on the internet.
Sure.
If you're an excited person who likes to use the internet, you can find us on the internet at www.rangerdangerpodcast.com.
We probably have a brand new website.
Woo! Probably.
I can't promise it yet because we're recording a little early and I haven't finished it yet.
Yep.
But we should have a brand new website, rebuilt from the ground up, easier to browse, easier to find stuff. It looks pretty good too.
Yeah, I'm quite a fan of your work. So that's exciting.
Go to rangerdangerpodcast.com and check that out.
Yeah. If you want to tell us what you think of our new website or anything else, really.
Please do.
Yeah. We're at rangerdangerpodcast.com. Nope, that's not right. rangerdangerpodcast@gmail.com.
That's
there we
us.
go.
Yep.
That's our email address. So yeah, if you like the new site, let Michael know. He'll appreciate it.
It's been a while since we read emails on the show, but I do want to get back into the swing of that.
Yep.
So please send us some emails about Power Rangers Zeo. Don't spoil anything. Don't be that guy.
No.
But like, if you haven't seen it before and you want to tell us what you think might happen or anything like that, shoot us an email.
Absolutely. Or if you prefer Twitter, we're at RangerDcast on Twitter.
For all your Twitter tweet needs.
You got to tweet us. It's vital. We're also on Facebook, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and Google+.
Yep.
Plus, we have a shop. That's rangerdangerpodcast.com/shop where you can buy things and stuff and shower curtains. I'll tell you what, I am currently wearing a shirt that Michael designed himself that I ordered from our shop. It's incredibly comfortable and it looks great. It's a Dino Charge t-shirt that has the crest of Xandar on it.
Yep.
That you designed, Michael, and it's a super rad t-shirt.
Can I say though, I also own that shirt, so we're going to have to make sure we're not seen in public both wearing that shirt at the same time.
I don't mind if we are. I'm not that concerned about that sort of stuff.
This is the 4th year of our podcast together. I think that's de facto now.
Yeah.
I think that's how it works.
I think if I moved to a country, I could get you through the visa process by saying that
we've done a podcast together for 4 years.
Yeah. That's proof of relationship. Speaking of proof of relationship, Michael, I got you a present.
I'm terrified, Matt. While I just pick it up, do you want to tell the listeners what you told me?
Yeah, so I was saying to Michael that when you're an artist, one of the great tragedies is that you don't know that you're working on your magnum opus when you're working on it. You know, like I'm sure. Let's say that "Hello Goodbye" is the best Beatles song, right?
Okay, I wouldn't say that, but that's fine.
Oh, what would you say is the best Beatles song?
I mean, something's the best Beatles song.
Okay. Was that a McCartney?
That's a George Harrison.
George Harrison. Okay. So George Harrison, while he was writing that, probably wasn't like, this is the best thing I'm ever going to do. I should appreciate this because this is my peak. You don't get that opportunity. You don't know until afterwards. I had that same experience creating this present for you, Michael. But I'm hoping in telling you, you can prep yourself to take it in because it's probably not going to get any better than this.
So those of you who've seen our shower curtain will understand why I'm terrified by the sentence that Matt just said. I should describe what I'm looking at. So it's a relatively large box, probably like a foot by a foot and a half by half a foot.
Yep.
It's wrapped in blue cellophane. I've already removed a layer and then we decided we should do this on air.
Yep.
But there's another layer, so I'm just taking that off now.
So I'd like to say, before you get like properly into opening it, that I wanted to get you a present that represented our time on the podcast.
Yep.
But I didn't want it to be Power Rangers related, because as much as Power Rangers is a big part of it, like the present that you gave me was Power Rangers related, and I wanted to find another way to distill the essence of our experience on the podcast without Power Rangers.
So I've removed the blue cellophane,
Yep.
and I'm looking at like a seafoam green box.
Yep.
Which I am now going to open.
Lift the lid on. And I think it's a good distillation of our experience.
Oh my god. This is, guys, this is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I don't even know if I can adequately describe this to our listeners, Matthew. This is...
Where would you start if you had to?
I don't know if I can keep this in my bedroom or if that will cause me to have nightmares forever. So, frequent listeners of the podcast will be familiar with Matt's hatred of minions, and more specifically with Matt's hatred of a certain minion's image, which is about the Confederate flag.
Yep.
So, what I am looking at is inside the box is, would you call this a diorama?
That was the word I was using when I was creating it, yeah.
Okay. Basically a diorama of that image. So we have 2 minions painted in camouflage overalls with moustaches painted on them.
There's actually meant to be mouths. I had a hard time making them frown. because they came with smiles, and I'm like, they're not smiling in the picture,
Right.
But
okay, that makes sense.
covering up the smiles made the mouth so big that it does look like massages.
Yeah, because I can also still see the mouth
Underneath,
inside, but that's
yeah.
fine. Okay, and then on the back of the box is painted, obviously, the Confederate flag and the text, "If this flag offends you, you need a history lesson." This is beautiful,
Thank you, I appreciate that. I put a lot of work into it.
but also horrifying.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, I don't know what I can do with this.
When I was creating it, I had to sort of do it in lots of layers because I had to paint and then let it dry.
Yes,
And I
sure.
had it sort of like painted and sitting on the table outside on our balcony,
Yep.
pointing out so we get the sun. And at a certain point, Sarah was like, "Can we put that inside? I don't want our neighbours to think we're racists."
But like a weird kind of American
Right.
minion-themed racist.
Yeah.
I will make sure that we put a photo of this on Facebook and Twitter because you guys also need to see. Like, genuinely, I can't display it, but you put so much work into it, I can't not display it.
Yeah.
You created a dilemma and a dilly of a pickle, Matthew.
I did.
I'm going to put the lid back on it.
That's good. I think that's a good choice.
Largely just because I can smell the paint and it's starting to make me a little dizzy.
There's a lot of paint involved.
Yeah, I can definitely see that there's a lot of paint involved.
One of the minions was like caveman themed, so I had to
Oh.
do a lot of work to sort of like paint over that whole situation.
That explains why he has a bone in his hair.
Yeah.
I say explains.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, I think.
You're welcome.
Oh my god. How many hours of your life?
Probably like 4 or 5, to be honest. But a lot of that is because I'm bad at this stuff.
Okay.
I feel like if Sarah had have done it, it would have been like a half an hour job. But yeah, there's a lot of pain involved.
Right. That will have been a bizarre detour for those of our listeners
Who
who
are
have
new to the
decided
show.
to start with the start of Zeo.
Yeah.
Okay, will we go watch a Zeo Beginning?
Yeah, let's go to Zeo Beginning.
Before we do that, what do you know about Zeo? Did you see Zeo?
Yeah, I definitely saw Zeo. I think somewhere in Zeo was where I fell off as a super regular watcher of the show as a child.
Sure.
Like, I know that I came back to watch the odd episode of, like, tiny bit of Turbo, a bit more of In Space, but I was watching all through Mighty Morphin. Not from the very start, but most of Mighty Morphin I was watching week to week.
Yep.
And I continued that through Zeo, and then at a certain point I sort of fell off a bit. But I remember being so hyped for Zeo when it came out, because this was the first time that Power Rangers really changed.
Yep, sure.
It felt like a new season for the first time, when as a kid previously it didn't really.
Yeah.
There were new Zords, there were new Rangers, but it still felt like the same thing. Whereas Zeo was something altogether new.
All right,
So-
let's go see that then.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely excited about this show for the first time in a very long time.
It's a good feeling, right? If you want to watch it too, it might be on Netflix.
It is on Netflix.
in your home country. Yeah, so go do that. Or you don't have to. You don't have to watch it, but I recommend it. We'll go do that, and we'll see you in just a moment. And we're back.
Power Rangers Zeo.
Zeo, Power Rangers.
That sure was an episode that did a lot of things and also absolutely nothing, right?
Yes. It was cool, though. Like,
Yeah.
it was brave in that there were no Power Rangers in this episode.
Nope, no Morphin, no Zords,
No fight scenes.
no monsters.
No monsters.
Just like purely narrative, we have to set some stuff up.
Yeah. Tell you what, I reckon that was one of the better shot episodes of the series so far.
Yeah.
Not that, like, it was amazing, but there was definitely a lot more care taken in, like, the lighting and the angles, and there was a lot more use of, like, close-ups and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
Yeah. So,
I think.
You think?
I think. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. Should we take it from the top?
Yeah, so brand new theme. And we
Yeah.
should mention we also have a brand new theme. And we have to thank Tim for that.
So many thanks to Tim.
Yeah.
Tim is an incredibly talented young man, and I very much appreciate his contributions, as I'm sure our listeners do.
I
Because
sent him a set of lyrics, and he sent me back the theme that you all heard at the start of this.
Yep.
I made one quick suggestion, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, but okay, I've actually done 7 more things."
It's real good.
Pretty good.
Yep.
I'm not sure how I feel about these opening credits.
Really? I love them.
Specifically, I'm not sure about the thing where like they're in small squares on their like starring this person screen.
For some reason, like it classes it up for me.
I just like I don't get it's like it's a TV. I can see a whole screen's worth of stuff, and you're like, here's a tiny picture of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I like it.
I understand that the shapes are on their masks and you can't get around that, but I hope that they don't try to make the shapes a thing. Like, shapes isn't an exciting theme. No one's getting super into, like, it's an oval. I'm the oval Power Ranger. An oval is never going to be as cool as a Tyrannosaurus.
That's true. But then, like, we haven't really got into any of that in this episode.
We'll have to wait and see, because maybe they do shout the word oval when they morph.
Yep.
We'll find out. I was trying not to look at the Zords too much, but what I saw looked rad.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty cool stuff.
We'll get to some of that.
Yep.
So the start of the episode, the command center is in ruins.
Yep.
It's just like a smouldering crater.
Yes.
It's pretty bleak.
It is pretty bleak.
Tommy delivers a voiceover. Which
is weird for this show to have like a narration.
And like flashbacks to stuff that happened in the last episode. I kind of feel like maybe it would have been better to just show them as they happened, because like it's a weird thing in flashback where like Tommy's presenting a voiceover, but that doesn't go anywhere. That's just him doing a voiceover, and we get these flashbacks intercut with like them running in slow motion.
I do think it does a good job of setting up the tone, at least, of where they're at.
Sure.
Like, it gets the exposition out of the way, but also puts you in the mind frame of these guys. It's just like, remember what just happened to them. Because I'm sure for the kids, it was like 9 months ago or whatever. Remember what's happened and remember how terrible they all feel right now. You get a sense for that, I think.
Sure. It's funny how the explosion gave them all new haircuts.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's a... Get hit by a big explosion, it's going to mess your hair up a bit. Sometimes into a perfectly new hairstyle.
Sometimes it will shave the sides of your head and just straighten out that mullet of yours a bit.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. It's the best hairdressers work exclusively in explosions.
It's true.
It's just...
It's the most dynamic way to cut hair.
That probably is true. So yeah, the command center is just gone. Just completely destroyed.
Yep. There's really nothing to identify as command center.
No, it's just a crater.
Yeah. I mean, there's some rubble, but like even that's generous to rubble. It's really just some rocks.
It's looking pretty bleak for the Power Rangers this week.
Yeah.
Which is why it's justified that Rita and Lord Zed are just having a party.
They're just going nuts on the moon. Yeah.
But Finster comes in. He's like, guys, I don't want to interrupt your party. And it's like, well, stop. Go away.
Yeah, don't, buddy.
Don't do it. But they really have to be aware because something shitty is about to happen to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's hard to describe it as selling it because Rita as a character is being performed by two people simultaneously and like, what's going on? But when Rita goes to the telescope and turns around and says, I think we're in trouble, like whatever's about to happen, it's not good.
Yeah, I think that was perhaps the best acting we've seen from the actress who plays Rita physically and not the voice. Because you see like almost the colour drain from her face and she looks genuinely scared, which is weird because especially lately she's been such a purely comical character.
Yeah.
For her to be like, shit. Like you can almost see like her stomach drop. It definitely sets the scene for what's coming.
Adam sees something glowing in the wreckage of the command center, and he says, could that be the Zeo crystal? At which point it responds by singing Zeo. So
probably
if that's going to do that once a week, I'm going to get sick of it real quick.
I think you'll be all right on that front.
So they start to dig it out.
Yep.
And I mean, basically the entire episode from here on out is intercut between the Moon and the Power Rangers.
Yeah, so
with a couple of like side.
Yeah, there's actually like 4 subplots going on here.
I mean, one of them is like...
Actually, I would say 5.
What's the 5th?
So we have the Rangers.
The Rangers?
Yep. We have Rita and Lord Zed.
I guess we also have the people who were attacking Rita and Lord Zed.
Yep. And then we also have Bulk and Skull.
And Goldar and Rito.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 5 subplots that are juggling in one episode.
I think Bulk and Skulls is actually just one scene.
Oh, it's definitely 2?
Maybe it's 2.
Yeah.
And like Rito and Goldar's is about the same.
Yeah.
But there's definitely like...
a lot going on.
There were a lot of people in a lot of different places at the end of Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers.
Yep.
And we've just got to like figure out where they all are and what they're doing.
Set them up for their new positions, yeah.
I mean, since we've mentioned them, why don't we just get Bulk and Skull out of the way now? Skull has picked up a cheap police bike with a sidecar, and they're going to get it back into shape because they're junior police officers is the direction for them this season.
I know that it looks a little old and perhaps rusty, but Bulk starts off being like, oh, that's a dumb piece of shit, and then eventually talked around to it. Motorcycle with a sidecar is cool, right?
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
Here's my question. Which of them gets the sidecar?
You couldn't get Bulk in the sidecar.
That's probably the case, isn't it?
So, I mean, it's Bulk and Skull. It's not Skull and Bulk.
Oh, but that's just... It's not fair for them to be given priority based on which name sounds better.
No, but I don't think it's about which name sounds better. It's that Bulk is he's the Batman of this situation.
Is Skull a sidekick?
That's what I'm saying, yes.
Yeah, I guess...
Bulk makes the calls, and then Skull follows Bulk around. He's a sidekick.
I can't imagine either of them striking out on their own.
No. But you have some, like, hero and psychic duos that are very much that unit, and you can't really separate them.
Sure.
But that doesn't stop one of them being the leader.
All right, something is attacking the Moon Palace.
Yeah.
It's the armies of the Machine King, King Mondo.
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
He's got, like, what looks like hundreds of dudes. Mm-hmm. He's got, like, his own cog-themed space station. There's, like, what I assume are his putties who pilot, like, ships.
Yep.
Tripod monster ships.
Walking things. And also, you say, like, he's got his gear ship, but there's actually, like, it looks like 8 or 9 of them.
It's like a fleet of them with, like, one flagship and other surrounding, like, Deep Space Nine ships.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, right?
That's some cool stuff.
Yeah.
So King Mondo is, like, round in shape.
Yep.
And he does look like if the pitch was design a cog king. Like,
That's it.
Yep. And is it Queen Machina?
That's right.
Who is, like, design a cog queen.
Yep.
She's, like, very cylindrical and narrow and, like...
She has a fan.
And there's also a small child who I don't think gets named in this episode.
No.
But he's, like, round but small.
Yep.
There's a lot, like... That's some good character design work.
Mm-hmm.
They're all instantly distinguishable from their silhouettes. You can tell exactly who they are, but they've also, like, they look cool. There's lots of little details to them. And
you get a decent vibe of who they are from the very few scenes we have with them in this episode.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
I mean, to be fair, they're, like, standard king, standard queen, and standard prince.
Yes.
Which is filling in a lot of the gaps, but that's fine. Like, I'm sure that they will have their own weirdly specific shit that we'll get into over the season.
Yeah.
So,
and I love the idea of, like, well, before it was like Rita's the bad guy, and then it was Lord Zed is the bad guy, then Rita and Lord Zed. Now it's an empire that is the bad guy.
Yep.
And as much as we'll be spending presumably most of that time with the king and queen, it's still an empire.
Yeah, like, are there, like, lords and ladies and, like, dukes?
There's at least, like, an army, which as much as, like, the putties in theory are that, it was always, like, a dozen of them.
Yeah,
you know
there might have been, like, 8 putties
Yeah.
that just kept getting reused. We see, like, at least a couple of dozen of these dudes and lots of ships and stuff that imply many more.
Yes.
Which definitely, like, you know, the putties did that, like, explodey thing, but you always got the impression that, like, they probably just, like,
reformed or
went
something.
back somewhere and,
Yeah.
like, this could be, like, an exhaustible army in the sense that the Power Rangers could beat it, but also, like, it has specific dudes in it and they, like, do things and mean things. I'm excited to see what that means for our Monsters of the Week. Mm-hmm. Like, are they... Because we're now finally again in a time where they're going to get new powers and be fighting monsters from that season and we're going to have consistent footage.
Yep.
Like, they might all be cog robot themed Monsters of the Week or that, like, I don't know what's going to happen there, but I'm excited to find out.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this show.
It's weird, right?
It's so strange.
Uh-huh.
So basically, these guys who have been sent to the moon are just flat out trying to kill Rito and Lord Zed.
Definitely. At very least, trying to blow up the Moon Palace.
They're like strafing that place with their guns. In a bit, we will see like Rito and Lord Zed running across the moon and explosions going off next to them.
Yes.
It's intense.
It is intense. They're not fucking around.
No, they are really not. So, the Power Rangers, luckily, have found the Zeo crystal.
Yeah.
It was convenient.
Just buried in the rubble.
And it sure looked like Rito and Goldar took it with them last week, but
It certainly did.
that's fine. They seem to have left it behind. Mm-hmm. Why don't we talk about Rito and Goldar?
Yeah, let's do it.
Rito and Goldar are in like a back alley.
Mm-hmm. A suburban back alley, yeah.
They are both hungry.
Yep.
They both want to go home. They may have amnesia.
I think that's definitely the case, yes.
They're definitely like not 100% on board with what's going on.
Yep.
And are surprised when they try to speak to some people and those people react in like horror.
Yes. So Goldar has lost his wings again.
Yep.
And Rito says, "Didn't you have wings? Did you not? I'm not sure. I can't remember. I can't really remember anything." I mean, I feel very strongly that they have amnesia. I feel like that point was pretty
I'm a
clearly
little
made.
worried that this show doesn't need a second comedy duo on it.
I understand that perspective, but for the past 10 episodes, they were my favorite part of the show.
Oh yeah,
So
I would just say maybe we could dial back on the Bulk and Skull for a bit.
definitely. Yeah, I agree.
Like, I don't know if they're gonna stick around. Like, I don't. Clearly, the Machine Empire are the bad guys this season.
Yep.
The position Rita and Lord Zed end up in is like they might just go away for a bit. Mm-hmm. Do Rito and Goldar stick around? Like, I don't know at what point they start to interact with the rest of the show.
So we should say for the listeners, what happened was Rito and Lord Zed had to evacuate the Moon Palace because it was under attack.
Yes, we see the throne room with the throne gone and a for sale sign up.
It's pretty great.
Pretty good.
Where did he take the throne?
They're definitely not carrying it with them,
No.
but maybe he can like shrink it and... Because didn't he make it appear there? Like, it wasn't always there, I don't think.
I mean, he made it appear in the command center one time, so he can take it with him.
Yeah, presumably he just like miniaturizes it or something.
Yeah, it's like the tank in Ant-Man.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're evacuating, and Rita says, "Oh, but what about Goldar and Rito?" And Lord Zed is like, "Well, they didn't come back. They failed, clearly."
What he's thinking is, thank fuck.
Yeah.
I've wanted to get rid of those guys since both of them showed up.
Yep.
So if they're missing right now and we are running away, that's an upside to this whole situation.
Absolutely. So yeah, Lord Zed says, I guess they can catch us up, but really they're just going to leave them behind.
Yeah. No, then I haven't left a note or anything.
No.
And so their plan is get to Serpentera.
Yes.
Get to somewhere else. And then Rita points out that they don't really have anywhere else to go. And Finster points out that Serpentera has no battery in it ever.
Yep.
So if they don't set a very specific course very quickly, they will just drift off into oblivion.
Yes.
Boy.
Yeah, that's bleak, right?
Okay.
It's also an amazing bit of continuity for the show to be like, yeah, remember Serpentera? How its whole deal was that it never has power.
It has energy for exactly 6 minutes of this show.
Yep.
And then, yeah.
Yep.
So they decide that they're going to have to go to the only place they know that will take them in. The most evil person they know, Master Vile.
Yep.
So, in case you weren't here last season, Master Vile is Rita's dad.
Yep.
And he hates Lord Zed.
Yep.
And Lord Zed hates him back.
It's the best. I love their family dynamic so
It's
much.
kind of great. So Master Vile shows up.
In like hologram form, I guess?
Yeah. And Rita's like, can we come stay with you, please? And he says, you're going to bring that shit out, aren't you? She's
Yeah.
like, yes, he is my husband. We've been married for a year now. You're going to have to just accept it. Master Vile is like, fine, I'll leave a key out. Just don't wake me up.
He says, I'll leave a skeleton key under the mat. I mean, I love that one line for two reasons. First of all, skeleton key's a reasonably funny joke.
Yep.
But second of all, I love the idea that his place just has a doormat.
Yeah.
Like, where does he live? And just imagine whatever that is, it having a door with just a mat to dust your feet off
It
outside.
says, like, not welcome on it.
Yeah.
Why does he need a doormat at all? He doesn't look like the sort of dude who'd be concerned with, like...
He seems to teleport everywhere, so, like,
But
what does he have in his shoes?
He's got, like, a horrifying eel creature embedded in his chest.
Yep.
Like, is he really worried about dirt on the floor?
Yeah, who knows? But
Anyway, so that's where they're headed at the end of this episode.
it's also cool too that, I mean, it's a pretty easy and common trick. But Master Vile says, "Oh, the Machine Empire, the only people more evil than me."
Yeah.
Just to sort of set up like, "Oh, these guys are the real deal." We'll find out later that there's more evil people than the Machine Empire because that's just how this shit works.
Yeah.
But
They have to
pretty cool.
keep getting more evil, or else...
It's like Dragon Ball Z, right? It's like, "Oh, this guy's the most powerful person in the universe," and then someone else shows up and kills them, and it's like, "Now I'm the most powerful." Surprise!
Oh, that show kept doing that. And by all accounts, has kept doing it. I think the one right now is like evil alternate universe Goku.
What?
I think
That's pretty cool.
They just reached a point where they couldn't conceivably come up with a newer, more evil person.
Yeah.
They had to be like, how are we going to come up with someone who's stronger than Goku? I've got it. Evil Goku.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a solid plan.
I just hope now that means they just go through the seasons with like evil alternate universe. So like the next one is even more evil alternate universe Vegeta. And then even more evil alternate universe Frieza.
Yeah.
We just recycle
you just
that.
start over. Exactly.
Oh boy. Okay, so the Zeo crystal. Tommy picks it up and
Yep.
it says Zeo again.
Zeo!
You're gonna have to get used to that, guys. Rito and Goldar must have dropped it.
Man, this is the one sticking point for me in this episode. It's like they clearly teleported out last time. And I'm still holding out some hope they'll get some explanation as to what happened.
Yeah.
Because they were gone a decent while before the command center exploded.
Yes.
But it's kind of made out as if it exploded while they were in there, so they dropped the Zeo crystal and were like given amnesia by the explosion, I guess.
Which would have been fine if that had been what we'd seen happen.
Yes.
And like, yeah, it does feel like they wrote the end of the episode and were like, right, what's the status quo this season? Power Rangers need to find the Zeo crystal. Oh, okay.
It's a bit hard to have them go to the moon or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're like, I don't know, there must have been some better way of handling it.
Yeah.
But
Oh, well.
it's fine. It's happened now. So Tommy picks it up and Billy's like, you probably shouldn't hold that because that's the most powerful object in the universe and it was just in an explosion. So
Maybe hands off the merchandise,
hands
bud.
off. Tommy puts it down. That was even worse of a decision because it lightnings their feet to connect them to the ground. Then the chunk of ground that they're on starts falling into the earth.
Yeah. That's pretty dramatic.
It sure is.
It's funny, too, because it starts falling into the earth initially at the rate of about a centimetre a minute.
And you start by thinking, this is a pretty good effect.
Yeah.
Like it looks like...
It looks good for the first bit, and it just gets progressively worse in the coming
Then it
minutes.
just starts like mid-90s computer shrinking instead of looking like it's falling at all.
Yep.
And then the earth disintegrates and the Rangers start falling.
Oh, God, it's so bad. It looks so bad. Even for this show, it looks so bad.
I think my problem with this is I'm not forgiving of bad special effects, but I'm especially not forgiving of bad special effects in situations where the special effects feel unnecessary.
Yeah, exactly. They could have just, like, fallen into a hole, you hear some screaming and a thud.
Yeah.
Like,
and
that would be fine.
That would have been an acceptable way to move past this instead of doing this bad shot.
Yes.
Because it doesn't add anything and it makes it feel fake.
Yes.
But so the Rangers, like, pick themselves up in the ruins of the command center.
Yep.
They're in what Billy calls, I think, the lower chamber. It's actually the room where the bomb was.
Yes.
Which is, like, just has boxes of stuff underneath the command center.
Yeah, I think it would be weird if it was the room the bomb was in, because that would be like ground zero of the explosion, right?
I came up with a headcanon answer for that.
Oh, go.
The bomb itself
Yep.
didn't really do all the damage. The damage was done, like, it disrupted one of the command center's things.
Right.
And so, like, because that place clearly is using some serious power.
Yes.
The command center itself blew up.
Got it.
It's like if you put a bomb in the basement of a building, you don't have to explode the whole building. You just have to weaken one of the foundations enough that
The whole thing crumbles.
the physics does it for you.
Sure.
So, like, maybe it didn't blow up this room, but it just, like, hit the generator.
Totally.
And then the room that Zordon's in is drawing the most power, so that's the place
It
that,
chained
like,
up to that.
chain reactions up to that.
Yep.
Or they just didn't think about it.
I get my sort of headcanon version was that there's just a lot of these sorts of tunnels.
Sure.
And it looks similar, it's just a different part.
It's just a different room with boxes in it.
Yeah.
They really should have unpacked those. They've been in there for a long time.
Getting a little gross and dusty.
What's Alpha been doing? I mean, maybe it's just stuff that they don't need.
Oh yeah, it's probably like it's meant to be stored, you know.
Yeah,
it has the
spares and
the emergency water and all of the extra alphas.
That's so bleak.
Both future and past.
Oh god, can you imagine like being a robot and waking up and being like, right, first job, clean up the half of the previous you that's still left, and next time, don't do that thing.
Yeah. Pro tip: don't die again.
So they hear a noise down there and they start to follow it. And upstairs, the building is starting to repair itself. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, it feels unnecessary. I didn't need that to happen.
I mean, because here's the real... Like, I imagine it's so we can do establishing shots.
Oh, 100%.
But I guess the thing is, like, from the end of the episode, we're not going to go back to the command center as we knew it.
Yep.
They've got a new thing that we'll get to in a sec.
Yep.
So, like, you didn't have to do that. Maybe if they just, like, left part of the building... not completely leveled it at the start of the episode, and then we could have like seen half the command center as the establishing shot.
Yeah, I get that, but I also get that like it would be weird for the whole season to have an establishing shot that reminds you of the failure of last season. You know what I mean? Yeah, I get why it was a problem for them. I mean, do you like put like just a new like tower or something? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just that it feels weird because it makes like, okay, so that's not actually that big a problem then. It can just rebuild itself.
Yeah.
All the time. Okay. All right, fair enough. Anyway, what they should have done is gotten putties and a flamethrower and used that to rebuild the walls.
Yeah.
Guys, if you're not reading the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic from Boom Studios...
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Missing out.
What are you doing?
Oh boy, that is some good shit. We're not going to get to talk to Carl about this most recent episode most recent issue for a while now. For those of new listeners, we talked to the guy who's writing the comic in Ranger Danger Boom Room.
Yes.
But I cannot wait because I have some questions. Namely, how are you allowed to melt putties into a wall?
It's a fair question. Just as a quick tangent.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me that in comics now,
yeah,
they're doing licensed work that for the first time, perhaps in history, it seems to be a consistent thing where licensed comics are almost as good and sometimes better than the shows they're based on. Like the Adventure Time comic.
That's some good shit.
So good, like frequently better than episodes of the show.
But not just like that book is good. Every mini they do is good.
Yep.
Every like spin-off they do is good. I mean, Matt, we live in a time that like there's 2 good Power Rangers comics on shelves. They just announced when we're recording this that Bill Hader is going to voice Alpha 5 in the Power Rangers movie.
Yep.
Like Power Rangers Dino Supercharge is not perfect, but pretty good. The cast for the new Power Rangers looks great. Like we live in the golden age of Power Rangers right now.
Yeah. And even like beyond that, to like as I was saying, the Adventure Time comic, amazing. There's a Rick and Morty comic that's written by Kyle Starks, who's a funny guy.
So good.
So like that's going to be super great. I'm not really. I've never seen the regular show, but I've heard that the regular show comic is like top notch. It's bizarre that in the 90s, if you got a tie-in comic to another property, it was like bottom of the barrel piece of shit.
I mean, there have been 2 previous Power Rangers comic series.
Yeah.
One of them lasted, I think, like 6 issues. And although parts of it were drawn by Steve Ditko, the most incredible fact you will ever know about those, it wasn't good.
No.
And the one from Paper Cuts was also not good.
No, it's not good.
Like, they just have figured it out.
Yeah.
It turns out that what you do is you say, here's Power Rangers, what do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
And you give it to someone who's got a good answer to that question.
Yeah. I mean, go editorial teams, I guess, is what we're saying.
Yeah. All right, so they hear Alpha talking
Yeah.
in the basement of the command center. And, like, they hear a voice, and Billy says, that sounds like Alpha. And then the voice goes, aye, aye, aye. And everyone's like, yeah, okay, all right, fine, I buy it now.
That was a cute moment, I
Yeah.
thought. Especially the relief on all of their faces. It was pretty cute.
Yeah. So the voice calls out to them, and it says, like, all right, Rangers, step into the vortex.
Yep.
And they're like, I don't know what that is, until they round the corner, and there's 2 CGI doors with just, like, a glowing green vortex behind it.
Yeah, 3 Power Rangers logos on it, just
Yeah.
in case you're
That's-
confused.
All right, that's the vortex. We
Yeah.
get it.
It opens up and there's just like a green gooey haze.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't
It's
it?
super weird.
Because, like, the doors open, and it, like, starts to seep out. But it's not like a liquid, it's like a flubber situation.
Yeah, flubber's a good word for it.
And, like, Tommy sticks his hand in and it comes out, like, sticky.
Yeah, that's gross. That seemed unnecessary. This is part of the 90s weird obsession with goop.
Yep.
Like, what goop was everywhere, too many places. Ease back on the goop is what I say.
Tommy pulls his hand out and Alfred's like, for fuck's sake, come into the vortex. And they're like, okay. So they all start to go through.
I'd like to say at this point that as much as the vortex itself is kind of a shitty effect, what they did do is have a green light behind whatever the vortex was.
Yep.
So you can see the light of the vortex on their faces,
Yep.
which looks great.
Yep.
And that's something that even Star Wars didn't figure out until like the most recent movie.
Yeah.
Which is that if something's throwing off light it in for real in the scene,
Yeah.
and it'll look a lot better. And it does.
Yeah, yeah. It
So-
really is like, it's just, you know, this show was never going to win an Emmy for its cinematography, right?
Yeah.
These episodes are made in half a day each.
Yep, for about $10.
No one has time to spend 40 minutes lighting each shot.
Yes.
But I don't know if it's just because it's the season opening, or if it's just they were like, right, Power Rangers Zeo, let's like
Make a good show.
Let's start caring about this show now.
Yep.
It just, everyone stepped it up a notch.
Yes.
And I hope it sticks like that.
Yeah. It feels good though, right?
It
Like
does.
it feels like slightly better quality, and that jump makes a big difference.
Yeah. So Rocky's the last to go in, and he kind of hesitates for a bit.
Mm-hmm. No,
and someone grabs
Not
him.
only like he turns away to leave.
What's he going to do? Is he like, you know what? Considering it, now would be a reasonable time for me to stop being a Power Ranger.
I would agree, Rocky. I'm very sad someone grabbed him.
Can I be honest? His acting in just that scene, I'm almost starting to come around.
I'm much more open to Rocky who I'm supposed to hate as opposed to Rocky that I'm supposed to like but hate.
Sure.
So if that's the direction they're going, all right,
Like,
I'm on board.
if Rocky in this season is just, hey, it's Rocky, he's a bit of a doofus.
Yeah.
That's like, for as long as he gets to be something.
Yeah.
Because for the past year and a half, he's been Rocky. He was the Red Ranger, but he had no personality, except that time he was really into pachinko. Remember that, guys?
Yeah.
Remember Rocky just wants to have fun? Because that's
I'll
it.
never forget.
That's all the Rocky that we've had. So, yeah, if he can be a person, and even if that person is, yeah, it's Rocky, the dumb Power Ranger, fine.
Yeah, like his personality was like the leader except never the leader.
Yeah, the leader, but someone else was actually the leader.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Rocky's the worst.
who knows? He might not be the worst anymore, maybe.
I doubt it.
I don't even know if he says anything in this episode, so let's withhold judgment for a bit.
Sure.
So, on the other side, a new command center. It's a newer, bigger, shinier set.
It's
looks
the command chamber, I believe.
Command chamber.
Yep.
Billy had seen secret plans for it,
Mm-hmm.
but he didn't know that they'd built it. So, I guess that's what Alpha's been doing in their downtime.
Yeah. Looks cool, right?
It looks cool. We don't get, like, a great view of it this episode.
I know why, and you'll find out next episode.
Okay,
Yep.
sure. I will find that out. So, and Alpha's there.
He comes out of an alpha-shaped hole in the wall.
The episode doesn't make clear if this is like a new body for Alpha,
Yeah.
or like what the situation is there.
The way he emerges from the wall suggests that, until you remember that you heard his voice a long while before he came out of the wall.
Yeah.
So I suspect that that's just like a alpha recharge station or something like
Yeah,
that.
he just like, because he can't just stand around all the time. He just
Yeah.
has a bedroom back there.
Yeah.
He doesn't want anyone else going in, so it's just got an Alpha-sized door.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I guess. And I like the thought, though, that means he was, like, in the command chamber pushing buttons and being like, hey, guys, come on in. And then was like, ooh, I'm going to make a dramatic entrance.
Hell yeah.
Going into the bedroom. All right, let's go.
Alpha-shaped door! Smoke! I hope it doesn't normally smoke.
No, he
had a machine in there. Be like, all right, smoke machine, go!
Oh, I like Alpha, and I'm glad that he's back.
Yeah.
He's the best.
He's the best. Everyone's happy to see him. We're happy to see him. He's happy to see everyone. It's an Alpha love fest.
And then someone says, what about Zordon? And Alpha says, I'm so sorry. I should have told you right away. And that's basically the end of the episode.
Yep.
Now, can I say, I'm expecting that we pick that scene up and he's like, he's fine. I'm sorry that I didn't lead with that information, but everything is great. But I don't know if that's going to be the case or not, so we will find out next week.
Yeah.
So, this is an episode of Power Rangers with no Power Rangers.
Yep.
No Zords.
Yep.
No monsters.
Yep. No fighting at all.
No fighting at all.
Might be a first.
I mean, some, like, ships strafing, laser shooting.
Yeah.
But no punches.
No.
It's something different.
Yeah. I like that they took the time to set things up and sort of soak in the moment a little bit. Like, you don't get these momentous changes all the time.
Yeah.
So don't rush them out in the first 3 minutes. Let's marinate in them.
It's interesting because this is a 2-part episode.
Yep.
If this was 3 parts, I would, like, the structure in my head would be, now that this episode is out of the way, the next 2 are like a regular 2-parter.
Yep.
Like, the Machine Empire installs itself wherever it's going to be.
Yep.
They send down a monster. The Rangers get their new powers, get their new Zords. They, like, you know, everything happens. We do a 2-parter.
Yep.
I don't know if you can squeeze all that stuff into 1 part. So I don't know. The second part might also be set up and we might not get an attack for another week. I don't know what the structure of this episode looks like. And because it's Power Rangers, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, you can't trust that they will follow a structure.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm excited. I'm interested to see.
Yeah.
So there's no creature feature this week. We have decided we're going to start a brand new Ranger Danger Zeo creature feature.
Yep. Just a teaser, it's like a slow burn tease. We're thinking maybe after like 5 or 6 seasons, once we have a few different creature features, we'll take the top 10 from each one and do a big special that's like the super creature feature or something.
And we'll also create a list that ranks our creature features on the Ranger Danger creature feature. No, Ranger Danger creature feature.
There we go.
There we go.
Did it.
Yep.
Yeah. So we can't do that. We can rank the episode, however.
Yeah, so we're going to need a new 3-point scale.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. It's a new season. It seems
Okay.
like the right time. Is it shapes?
Yes. So I guess the problem is that there's no 2-sided shapes, because you could do like 1, 2, 3, circle, something, triangle. But
There's no... Well, I mean, there is like that like eye shape that's 2 curved lines that point at both ends, but I don't know what that's called.
no, I don't either.
And that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Is there a best shape? Squares are pretty good.
Triangle's the most structurally reliable.
That's true, I do. Can I tell you a story about that?
Yeah.
Can I tell you a slightly related anecdote?
All right.
In, I want to say, year 10 science, we had that like challenge that I think a lot of people have where they said, like, make a bridge out of popsicle sticks.
Yep.
And whoever's can hold the most water wins. And
Sorry, water?
yeah, we had like, they put like water in bottles.
I
'Cause
see.
It, like,
Yep.
you know how much it weighs because
Sure.
a litre of water weighs a kilogram.
Yep.
And it's easy. So 10-year-old Michael, it may not, not 10-year-old, year 10 Michael, may not surprise you to know, was a huge nerd.
Yeah.
So
What do you mean was?
structural integrity, triangles all the way. First couple of peoples that went up, they did it, you know, like half a litre of water. Mine took 2 and the string broke holding it onto the bridge before my bridge broke.
Wow.
Michael was the best at building bridges.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, I was a huge nerd. Unlike now, he says on his Power Rangers podcast.
I think you're good at building bridges.
Emotionally.
Yeah.
No,
In all ways.
that's not true. I'm an autistic robot person.
No, you have lots of friends and you connect with them.
Beep, beep, boop.
Beep the boops.
All right.
Yeah.
Do we have anything to... I had an idea for a new feature, but we can't do it this week.
Yeah. We didn't decide on the ranking system either, by the
No.
way.
Oh, yeah. This This is tough.
Yes, I probably should have decided this before we started recording.
Yeah.
I don't think Shapes is dynamic enough.
I mean, I agree, but apparently the people making Power Rangers didn't
Hang on.
Yeah, okay.
Shape-themed buildings.
Okay.
We've got
pyramids?
The pyramids. We've
Yep.
got the Pentagon. We've got Madison Square Gardens.
Is that it?
That's all I got. That's 3.
Do you have opinions on the ranking of which of those is the best?
Yes.
I mean, conveniently, you've picked a shape with 3, 4, and 5 sides.
Mm-hmm.
So if that happens to play out that way, that would be good.
I tell you what, I think that's my opinion.
Okay,
I think
the pyramids are the best.
No.
No?
No.
Really?
they're just triangles.
Matt, they're giant, like... okay, fine.
They're just
you think
triangles.
you think the pyramids are worse than Madison Square Garden?
Yeah. I have any opinions about Madison Square Gardens. It really depends on what event they're hosting there, really. So it's kind of like, that's neutral ground.
But you love the Pentagon? That's not a position I'd have believed that you...
Okay, that's true. No, you're right. Maybe pyramids should go up top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I have a vague understanding of your feelings on the military-industrial complex. And I don't think that the pyramid is the best shaped building in the world.
Yeah. All right.
Whereas the pyramids, Matt, ancient Egyptian aliens built to house their dead and also create mummies for people to fight. Think about it. We wouldn't have The Rock as a movie star without pyramids.
That's a compelling case for pyramids. And also, the pyramid spaceships from Stargate were pretty cool.
I'm willing to accept that. I don't know what you're talking about, but...
Did you never watch Stargate?
Not really. Like, I've seen bits of Stargate. I've probably seen, like, a season's worth, but I know that means I've seen a 10th of Stargate overall.
Yeah, and that's just that
The
particular...
Stargate, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Atlantis or Universe. Is that the third one?
I think so, yeah.
I think no one watched that one.
I watched the first 2 episodes, and I was enjoying it. I just didn't pick it up. It was very different from Stargate, though. I think it was like, what if we did Battlestar Galactica, but with Stargate, which was a strange choice. What I loved about Stargate was that I think it was one of the best sci-fi shows for world building, where it started off as a group of military people going through the Stargate
Sure.
to sort of explore, but they brought stuff back. So over the 10 seasons, humanity went from being like our world to having the equipment that they would bring back, to the point where they started building starships.
Sure.
And they became, even it was kind of in secret, an interplanetary society over the course of that 10 seasons.
I feel like that's why I never got into Stargate. Not that I don't like that, but like by the time you're watching a random episode in season 6, it's like, oh, there's a lot of stuff that I have to know now.
Oh, yeah.
Watching this show.
It's impenetrable if you don't do it sequentially, yeah.
Like, oh, I guess that person showed up. I recognize that person from another show. They've got a worm in their stomach, do they?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that everyone else seems to understand what's going on, so I guess that's okay.
It's amazing that it got as far as it did, because it's impossible to pick up in the middle. It got to the point where they were doing crazy physics things with all of the stuff that built into the show's lore.
Right.
Like, so you understand the concept of a Stargate,
Yeah,
right?
it's a magic portal.
Yeah, and like you need to, it goes from one side to the other.
Yeah.
They were seeded across planets by...
aliens?
Aliens, basically, yep. But they also have... They can only travel certain distances.
Right, okay.
So it's sort of like within a galaxy, basically. So it's more like a local transportation in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, sure.
But to get things many sort of distances, what they did, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, it's been so long, and someone's going to write me an angry email, but they ended up...
We're not a Stargate podcast.
We're not. They started ripping out, using their ships, the Stargate to multiple planets, and then like putting them into a row, and then like shooting
So
people
they're
like
railgunned through Stargate.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I have to watch all of Stargate.
It's
now.
real good, Michael. I think you'd really appreciate it.
Oh boy.
It got bananas. It got proper bananas.
Okay. Right. Well, that's
There's also an episode quite early on in the run where they open a gate to a world that's being eaten by a black hole, basically, and the relativistic sort of warping of time is seeping slowly through the Stargate, so that people standing right next to the Stargate are trying to communicate with people that are just outside of the complex. But because time is different in those two locations, the radio signals aren't getting through until they figure out that they need to like compress the messages that they're getting because they are sort of not being transmitted in the same amount of time.
Okay. Look, Matt, at some point now I have to find time to watch like 16 seasons of Stargate.
Yeah. I really think you'd love it.
Okay. We are not going to do a podcast about Stargate.
Oh, God, no.
We're going to keep doing a podcast about Power Rangers Zeo, though.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next week.
Well, hang on. We've got to rate this episode.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. We got confused when you said you loved the Pentagon.
Yeah.
So
the Pentagon, just to be clear, is actually the bottom of the list.
Yep.
Madison Square Gardens is the middle, and the pyramids are the top.
Yeah.
I kind of like this scale. You've talked me into it. I like it.
Okay. Was this the pyramids?
I think, like anything in Power Rangers, it's tough to know what's next and how that will put this into context.
Yes.
But as a setup...
When we say this is a good episode...
Yes.
We don't mean, like, watch this instead of Game of Thrones.
No.
We mean, if you're watching Power Rangers, you will not feel angry at the end of this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all relative to the baseline of Power Rangers.
Yes.
And for that, I'm comfortable saying pyramid.
All right, Matt, I don't want to alarm you. This is our 4th top of the rating episode in a row.
Yeah. It's been a little good recently. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Hopefully that keeps up.
So, now we can finally say we'll be back next week.
We will be back next week with the Zeo Beginning Part 2.
Yeah, so we will see how they wrap this kind of thing up.
Yep.
And then after that, it's just we start like regular episodes.
We're into the open wild fields of Power Rangers Zeo.
So let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm pretty excited.
Stronger than before.
Yeah.
Like, is an actual description of this show.
Yeah, that theme song is on point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So we'll see you next week, and make sure you stay in shape.
Is that going to be our sign out for the rest of the show now?
Yeah, I came up with it just then, but I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah?
I mean, I'm like, okay. Sure. Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay in shape.